This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our new sponsor, Kova Software, developers of the popular Kova point-of-sale system, found in quality legal marijuana dispensaries throughout Canada, Washington, Colorado, and California. Kova's system is easy to use, rock-solidly reliable, and was built from the very start with security and compliance in mind. Now installed in more than 19,000 retail locations, Kova's point-of-sale system has stood tall on the busiest of sales days, with virtually no downtime on their record, including 420, Green Wednesday, and the weekend before the Super Bowl. Kova's parent company has been innovating within the highly regulated wireless industry for decades, so you can feel safe when you entrust your dispensary business with Kova Software. Pop over to kovasoftware.com/demo to check out their system and to request a demonstration of their stellar point of sales system. That's kovasoftware.com/demo with Kova spelled C-O-V-A. And make sure to let them know that you heard about them here on Marijuana Today Daily. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Thursday, March 22nd, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 452 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is the big news out of Washington, D.C. that a temporary spending bill was approved by congressional leaders that includes protection for state legal medical marijuana. Bruce Barcott over at Leafly has a good write-up of the latest developments as the $1.3 trillion budget was approved yesterday in a form that includes previous language barring the Department of Justice from spending money going after state legal cannabis. The new budget will keep the government's lights on through September. Yesterday, a judge in Arkansas granted a preliminary injunction on that state's issuance of the first 5 medical marijuana cultivation licenses set to be given out last week. We've touched on this story recently, and yesterday, Pulaski County Circuit Judge Wendell Griffin ruled that the process the state went through in scoring the various applicants for medical marijuana cultivation licenses was flawed enough to make the results null and void. The ruling came about due to a lawsuit filed by failed applicant Naturalis Health. There's no word yet on how the state and its Medical Marijuana Commission plan to respond. We'll keep an eye on this one for sure. On Tuesday, the California Cannabis Industry Association held a conference in the state capital of Sacramento, and the reported main topic of discussion was centered around how badly things are going for legal cannabis in the first few months of operations, with one industry insider characterizing things as, quote, an industry in chaos, unquote. A number of lawmakers at the conference spoke about the need to lower taxes, which can rise as high as 40% in some parts of the state. That makes it very hard for legal businesses to compete with illicit operations free from the extra costs of compliance. Weed Maps in particular was criticized for defying calls to remove unlicensed shops from their listings. California is the nation's largest cannabis market, and a lot of eyes are watching what's going on there right now, so this is probably a good one to open up and read in full. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Kova Software, makers of the popular Kova point-of-sales system, which is now found in more than 19,000 marijuana dispensaries throughout Canada, California, Washington, and Colorado. Kova's nimble team of developers keep their ears close to the ground and have built a system that's both easy to use and powerful in all that it can do. It can handle multiple locations with no problem, so if you have more than one dispensary to monitor, the Kova system has you covered. It's also designed and constructed to be virtually mistake-proof, meaning you don't have to worry about falling out of compliance due to one of your employees making a mistake, as we're all bound to do sometime or another. Kova's system has fraud prevention baked right in and can be deployed throughout your shop on tablets, even if you don't happen to have Wi-Fi. Learn about all the cool things Kova's point-of-sale system can do for you by opening up kovasoftware.com/demo to request a demonstration of how things work. And make sure to let them know that you heard about them here on Marijuana Today Daily. One last time, that's kovasoftware.com/demo with Kova spelled C-O-V-A. All right. Time for the blitz. The Huffington Post has a good story up looking at some potential legislative drama up in Canada around adult use legalization bill C-45. As the Huffington Post has it, conservative senators plan to call for a second reading and vote on the bill today in the hopes of catching enough of the bill's supporting senators out of town to kill it. This is another good one to read in full and another storyline we'll obviously keep tracking. The Canadian medical marijuana company, the Cronos Group, has filed paperwork detailing plans to raise $100 million Canadian in investment through the issuance of 10.42 million public shares sold at just under $10 a share. The Cronos Group made some recent headlines for their new partnership with California-based MedMen on a planned chain of Canadian dispensaries. Michigan's Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs released a list of the 70 communities in that state that have passed local regulations allowing for the siting of medical marijuana businesses. State law requires that prospective medical marijuana license holders be located in areas that explicitly allow for the industry. This is another good one to open up for the full read. The list, viewable via Weed News, includes 14 communities with pending regulations. Popping up to my corner of the country, the Portland Press Herald is reporting that the Portland, Maine Police Department is changing their hiring guidelines to no longer dismiss job applications from anyone who has used cannabis in the last 5 years. Portland Police Chief Michael Soschuk said that candidates would now be judged on a case-by-case basis. The move reflects both increased difficulties police departments have been having nationwide in finding good candidates, as well as the general progression of marijuana policy here in the Pine Tree State. Licensed medical marijuana company MedPharm is currently building out a cultivation facility in Des Moines, Iowa that will serve patients in that state's soon-to-launch medical marijuana program. Under state law, the company has until December 1st to get their first batch of low-THC medical products grown, processed, and ready for use by registered patients. Click over to this one for both the story as well as a collection of photos of the MedPharm facility. Georgia State Representative David Clark is accusing Lieutenant Governor and fellow Republican Casey Cagle of some legislative dirty work. I reported on this storyline earlier this week as Representative Clark introduced a bill expanding the state's medical marijuana program, something that Lieutenant Governor Cagle is opposed to. Now, Representative Clark is accusing the Lieutenant Governor of blocking another one of his unrelated bills that deals with the safety of student athletes, a charge Lieutenant Cagle denies. If you're into Georgia state politics, this is a good one to open up for the full read. And finally for today, Utah Governor Gary Herbert just signed into law a new bill that allows terminally ill patients the right to use certain types of medical marijuana. Under the extremely limited measure, people diagnosed with having 6 months or less to live will be allowed to use medical cannabis. The legislation also restricts doctors from making that recommendation to no more than 25 patients at a time. I guess to protect against the state's terminally ill from abusing the program. Even so, it's a baby step. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at MJTodayDaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Kova, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.